Hi, good morning. Charmaine Byers here with Chit Chat with Char. I am so excited to welcome my special guest on today, Miss Farrah Blakely. Farrah Blakely and I go back probably about 5 years, 5 or 6 years. And I have just been so excited to watch her journey on social media with her new endeavor. So I wanted to have an opportunity to chat with her and to see what she's doing. So without further ado, Farrah, come on down.
Hey, Char.
Hey, Farrah, it's so good to see you, girl.
You too. It's been a long time.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. So, okay, we let's just talk a little bit about like how we met each other. We met each other probably, I'm saying about 6 years. Is that about right?
Yeah, I think it's been longer than that when we first met because it was like 2015 when we started working together.
Okay, okay.
Was it
So
2015? Yeah, I think so.
okay, so we started working together in HR.
Yes.
She was in payroll and I was a generalist. So that meant that I was a catch-all, did everything and anything HR related. So you and I, we met and we instantly clicked. We shared kind of an office. You had your own separate office, but we shared an area together. And I just really enjoyed our conversations. I enjoyed talking about parenting and just like, I mean, we talked about a lot. And
We
so
did.
now seeing you on your journey of being a coach, I know you and I talked about this briefly when we worked together, but to see it all come to fruition right now is amazing. So, talk to us a little bit about what you got going on.
Thank you, Char. It is amazing. It has been an amazing journey. So, I am a certified life coach, mindfulness practitioner, and I specialize in love coaching for high achieving women. So, seeing myself as a single mother back then, where I was doing all the things and in the professional corporate world, raising kids, trying to date, trying to attract the right type of man, the right love. Once I realized what I was doing and the way to do it that felt good, it didn't feel like struggle and like I was pushing a boulder uphill. I was like, this is something that should be shared because, like, they don't teach it to you. It's not something you learn in schools. A lot of times, it's not something you even learn in life, in real life. You're just trying to figure it out moment by moment. But I wanted to offer that to women because I want them to know that their love exists and they deserve to be loved the way they desire to be loved. And it is possible, 100% possible, to attract that into your life and give you the companionship, the partnership, the love that you desire.
That is so awesome because I know when you and I were working together, I was single. And I know how difficult that could be and how uninterested I was to be on the dating scene with, young males who were really not letting that happen. It's like, I would think that, I was bringing someone around and they would shut that down so quick, like, nope, he's not the one. It's like, so, I mean, and you talk about high achieving women, professional women who are working, who find that so difficult to balance sometimes to be on the dating scene. And then sometimes for me, I know that I always felt like being in relationships sometimes um, with males it felt like there was always like a disconnect. I don't even know how to explain it. It was always a disconnect because I was up here when it came to achievement and what I
Mm,
wanted to do as far as career. And I never seemed to find anyone that balanced that out or that challenged me enough to where I felt like, oh, this could work. I was always so bored.
yeah, yeah, that's a big thing and it's a common thing too. And I'll say for women like us, um, It's worth the investment of pouring into yourself when you're serious about it. If you are just like, oh, I'm not sure, I just want to dibble dabble, then like dating sites that are free, that's fine. But when you know that, yes, I want a companionship, I want a serious relationship, I want marriage, and I know what I want, then it's time to do some investing in yourself. And you know, I know people think of paying for a matchmaker or paying for personalized dating services is like, why would I do that? I surely I can attract someone on my own, right?
Right.
But there's so much out there that it can become overwhelming, and then it just feels like too much and you give up or you settle because you get tired and exhausted.
Been
Neither
there.
one, yeah, neither one is going to play in your favor.
Right.
I always say when you are at the point where you are clear on what you want and you know what you want the end result to be, then it's time to invest in yourself and pay.
Did we lose her?
She's frozen for a second.
Okay.
Let's see if we get her back here in a minute.
All right. Well, Lyndon, while we're waiting for her to come back and rejoin us, she talked about dating sites. Have you ever done any like online dating?
Yeah, it's miserable. It's absolutely miserable. Thank God I'm engaged now, and I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Right.
It's it's. How did I put this one time? It's disturbingly entertaining. Let me put it that way. I mean, you meet some really interesting and scary people. And I don't know. I mean, in today's world, I guess it's part of the process. But it's just it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. You know, I would try it and I would hate it, and I'm like, okay. And then I'd try it again, and it wasn't any better. And so, anyway, now I don't have to worry about that.
Thank God for that. I feel the same way. I never was brave enough to endeavor on the online sites, the dating sites. Kind of what Farah was saying. I just kind of had this perception that you see all this. Why do I need to do a dating site? You know, so I never really wanted to do that. And then I just wasn't brave enough. I was a fraidy cat, if you will.
I definitely could understand that from a female perspective because
Right.
there's some there's some scary women out there. I can't imagine what it would be like for a woman to meet some of the guys in the same circumstance or situation. It is scary. You know, for me, working 12, 14, 15 hours a day, and I don't like the bar scene. I did when I was younger, but I
Right.
don't now. I just I'm not into that. I just felt like in the beginning, I'm like, well, wow, what a great opportunity to kind of try to meet somebody and get to know them without it being threatening. And then, of course, you know, when you're talking to them online, everything seems cool till you meet the first or second time. Sometimes it's the third time before everything reveals itself. And it becomes so discouraging so fast.
That's something I just think about, like, for me, being a single mom, like I was telling Farah, being a single mom and trying to balance that. My kids were really active in sports. I had one who did band for a little bit. So if you can imagine how busy that could have you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just never could find that balance. Hey, Farah,
Hey, sorry, my internet just kicked me off. I hate
no
when that
problem.
happens.
That's what happens with technology.
I know.
So we were kind of chatting with Lyndon while you were out, just about him dating or trying the online dating scene, and how he describes it as miserably entertaining.
That's a good way. That's a good way to sum it up. I would agree with him because, like I said, there's really no filter on some of those dating sites. So if you're not paying for specialized service where someone's going to filter out the trash and, require people to go through a background check and, ask the pertinent questions that align to your values and things like that, it's really hard to shuffle through all that. It's daunting. Like,
Yeah.
I understand why women are like, you know what? No, I don't want to do that. Never mind. Just forget it. I'll just be by myself. But the thing is, you can't outsmart your biology. We are made to be loved. We are made to give love. We are made for companionship and partnerships. So at the end of the day, it comes down to, what are you willing to do? What are you willing to invest for you to step into the best version of yourself? And that will include a relationship.
Mm-hmm. So I was telling Lyndon that I've never had the courage to really get into the online dating scene. So is there a cost for those for the dating sites?
Some of them, they do have them, some of them don't. So there are
Okay.
plenty that do not have a cost, like Bumble and Plenty of Fish and Tinder, those do not have a cost. I think Facebook might even have like a dating portion or something that you can use. There's no cost for that. And, for some of those, it turns out great for people, but most of the time, it's not going to turn out great and it's not going to give you the best experience because, as I said, there's no way to really filter through things. You have to be very, very strategic in your dating profile, the pictures you post, how you communicate. You have to know how to communicate and how to ask the right questions in that. So it takes a lot of prep work to be in those free applications. Whereas if you are in a paid application where the site, has these processes in place to filter out people that are on there, playing games, maybe they're on there, stalking women, you know what I mean? Like they go through background checks, they go through questionnaires, all these things that you're going to get in a paid service. So that takes away some of the danger component and maybe some of the, like you were saying, you were scared. That would help ease some of that because, there's these requirements in place.
Wow. So what made you decide to take this endeavor as far as coaching? Because there's all different arenas of coaching. So, there's life coaching, relationships, just so many different levels to coaching. What made you decide to go with love coaching or relationship coaching, or did it choose you?
I think it was a little bit of both. So what I was seeing from my own, just like my family, my very close friends, I was seeing women that were amazing, beautiful, talented, smart as hell. Like these women were off the chain. Like I was like, oh my God, these women are fantastic. And it's like, what are you doing with him? Like, what? Like, how did he find you? And they were not happy. So they were what I call with a Mr. Mediocre,
Oh,
because the just the process of finding love and attracting love and dealing with the emotions, it was just too much. And as humans, when you go through life, you get beat up. Things happen, obstacles take place. You trip and fall and bust your butt. You got to get back up again. And time after time, you do it in your career, you do it with parenting, you do it with love. It just gets to be a lot, and you start taking on this belief of, I'll just do this type attitude. I'll just do this because it kind of takes hits at your self-worth and your self-esteem and your self-beliefs. And as that's chipping away, there's nothing restoring that. There's nothing and no one, because that's just not our culture here in Western civilization, to restore that, where someone's pouring into you that belief, that worth, that self-image that promotes you to believe, I am worthy of what I want to experience.
Ah,
So yeah, so I was like, that's the gap right there. That's what it is. Obviously, these women are smart enough and talented enough. They go out and get these amazing careers and they're juggling all these balls in the air. Obviously, they have what it takes, but there's a gap somewhere. And when I noticed that gap, I noticed it in myself. And then I started noticing in other women close to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have to help fix this. Not fix this, but I have to help mend this because women are the leaders of the world. I know that's not what we're taught, but women really do run this entire world and we create generations. And so if you are not getting the love you deserve, you will pass that belief on to future generations that it's okay not to get the love you deserve. And I was like, I am not okay with that. So I have to do something.
wow. I mean, you spoke about several different things just in that little segment. Generational stuff. You talked about, the fact that we do rule the world. I mean, a lot of what we do is something that men cannot do.
Exactly.
The fact of how we can multitask and be several different places all at one time and everything still run flawlessly
Yes.
without knowing in the background and on the inside that there's something else going on.
Yes.
Lyndon and I had a conversation on yesterday, and I think it kind of rings true in this same conversation that, when you surround yourself with people who build you up, lift you up, then you can be your authentic self.
Yes.
But when you're in a relationship with someone who's not bringing that to you, when you talked about chipping and chipping away, then it's like you're somebody else. You're not even who you're supposed to be because you're
Exactly.
being chipped away. And
Yes.
oh my gosh, I mean,
Yes.
that will preach.
Yeah.
Seriously, seriously, because when you think about that, I think about, how many, relationships that I've been in broken. And a lot of the stuff you talked about, generational stuff, a lot of the relationships that I found myself in, when I look at that relationship, it was like you said, there was that gap, something that I was missing or thought that I needed to make me whole or make me complete.
Yeah. 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 And
Girl.
the other thing, Char, is women are creators. We are the only creators, or the female species are the only creators. So men, no disrespect to men. We love men.
Lyndon, we love you.
But men don't create from their bodies. Women do. And so we are natural manifestors. By law, by the law of the universe, we manifest from our bodies. And that power alone gives you the right and the ability to have what you want. And that includes love too. So when you stand in that and own it, then you realize, oh, I don't even have to deal with this. I don't have to settle for that. Like there's so much more waiting for me. I just have to line up to that and then expect it. You know what I mean? And claim it. Sometimes I've noticed that women won't even admit to what they really desire because they're scared to let the words come out of their mouth,
Gosh.
yeah. And it's like just put the words out there. That brings power in itself.
Wow. To verbalize it. I
Yeah.
know for me, I've been married for 3 years now. We've been together for 4. And I know right before I even met Anthony, I went through this transformation within myself. It was something where something happened, something shifted within me. And there was a lot of things going on in my life at that time, with my children and just things happening. So something shifted within me where I was like, I'm done with Mr. Mediocre. Like, I'm done with that. I'm done settling for whatever comes to me, and wanting to see the best in the people that were drawn to me for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And just being so unhappy. And it's like I deserve to be happy. I'm a pretty good person. Why do I have to settle for this? And I feel like that shift within myself really helped me to be able to even see Anthony when he came into my life.
You hit it on the head, Char. That right there, the shift is what it's like. It wakes you up because he could have been there before, but you would have never seen him or even noticed him
Right.
because you were closed off to your own desire, your own happiness, your own realization of what you wanted that hadn't sparked it. Like you said, something shifted, and that's when you lined up to your true desire. That's when Anthony showed up. It wasn't a coincidence because energy attracts energy. And
Right.
so you got your energy shifted. He was ready for you. He found you, and there you were. And you were able to receive him.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I met Anthony 2 times before I actually met him, if that makes sense. I was
Yes.
introduced to him, and I never would have met him because we don't run in the same circles. We didn't even live on the same side of town. So the chances of us meeting were slim to none. And I don't know if a lot of people know our story. Close people do. But my brother, who spent a significant amount of time in prison, paroled here to Texas to be with me. And he came here. He ended up going to work for a place that Anthony worked at. And he and Anthony became best buds.
Oh,
And
wow.
my brother introduced me to Anthony twice. And both times I'm like, hi, how you doing? Want to buy a house? So it wasn't, I just didn't see him in that light. My brother ended up moving back to Arizona. And then shortly after he moved to Arizona, Anthony reached out to my brother and asked my brother if it would be okay if he called me.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, it was just amazing. So he ended up calling me, but I was out on appointment. And he sent me this text that was just amazing. And it just really touched me because it was a way that I had been approached that I had never been approached in this manner, not even, in person or via text. But the gist of his text said, I'm just trying to come up with the words to get you to say yes to go on a date with me. And I
Oh,
was
I
like,
love that.
who is this guy?
I
You know?
love that.
Yeah. So we talked for a couple of weeks and then we finally met in person. And that encounter was heavenly. I mean, it really was. We spent 6 hours, which was supposed to be a lunch date. It ended up being a 6 hour date. Um,
Wow.
During the early stages of our relationship, we would shut down places. I mean, people would be kicking us out of restaurants because we would just be there and we were so in tune. And it was so easy. It was easy to love him.
Yes.
It was
Yes.
just easy.
Yes, yes. I love that you use that word easy, Shar, because that's what I coach women to get into is letting it be easy, but you let it be easy when you shift that energy. And so I coach women through shifting into that energy so that it can be easy. Because dating is not the struggle you've been going through. That is not like the norm. I know we think it is, but that really isn't. The norm is what Shar just described in her early stages of dating. That is how it is supposed to feel.
Wow. And I didn't even know. So I'm glad that I didn't have to pay for your services, girl, because I mean, I was at the point to where it's like, I am so done with this. This can't be it. It can't
Yeah.
be. We dated for a year before we got married. And so to a lot of like family members and our friends, that may have seemed like, oh my God, a year? Like you guys are going to get married? But we knew when I left him at that restaurant, I knew that I did not want to live another moment without him.
Oh, wow.
And I held on to him so tight. And when we talked later on that day, I was like, I don't know about you, but I felt like I was being separated. And he was like, I felt the same way. And from that point on, we were inseparable. I mean, we have been able to accomplish some amazing things together. We
Yes.
have a great family dynamic. We're blended together. We have 5 kids. And we have a really great family dynamic. It's not perfect by any means. And we're all still learning. You know, we're learning how to be blended. Because
Yeah.
for my young adults, it's always just been the four of us, you
Yeah.
know, my 3 boys and me. So to bring on these other elements has been like, wow. But it's been great. I'm enjoying every bit of it.
That's wonderful. That I love hearing stories like that. That is amazing. Yeah, and it is. It doesn't need to be perfect because perfect means there's no growth. You know, when something's
Right.
perfect, that means there's no growth, which means there's no expansion, which means there's no more learning. And
Right.
so, yeah, you don't need to have perfect. You just need to have willingness and positivity to go in it together and go through the learning together.
That's awesome. So what about your relationships? How are you doing?
So this whole thing, me turning to love coaching, came about when I met my soul partner, and I did all the inner work prior to meeting him. So similar to you, to your story, Char, I had reached a point where I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so over this." The last relationship before meeting my guy, I mean, it was just like it was drama filled. It just drained my energy. It was during
Mhm.
the time that we worked together.
Yes.
It was just too much. And so when I broke it off with him, I was like, I am not going through this again. Like, if this is it, what is it I need to be doing? Because I became very aware of myself, that what I was feeling, what I was not happy with in my life. And so I decided I'm going to turn my energy inward and focus on making myself feel good in the different areas of my life, whether it was work, how I felt with my body, just energy, everything. And so when I turned inward and I started working on myself and doing the things that I cared about and that got me excited, it was like maybe a good year of doing that. And I met him. And when I met him, it was kind of like, hey, like kind of, it was just like, hey, like very random. I was meeting a friend for her birthday for happy hour. I really didn't feel like going. She was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go home after work and get cute. Are you gonna go home and change?" I'm like, "No, I'm going just like this for work." Because I was just at that point where I'm like, this is about me. I'm not trying to impress anybody. So I get there early. Of course, she's late. And he asked me to take a picture of him and his friend. And I'm like, whatever, dude. Snap, snap. Here you go. And I go sit down, and he comes over and starts talking to me. Well, our conversation, we connected really quickly in just the conversation, because he was sharing personal information about his sister and how he just lost her and how they were really close. And the conversation went on and on and on. Well, from that point forward, it was just like every time we spoke, we got closer and closer and closer. And the first time he called me on the phone, because I was not a phone person. I'm like a super texter. Like, I love texting. But when he called me, I'm like, why is he calling me? Why would you call me? We were on the phone for like 4 hours. That was the first time I've ever talked to any man on the phone for that long. I'm usually like 15 minutes. I gotta go. But from that point, I just knew something was different. I was like, something is different about this, and I don't know what it is. And he realized too that something was different. And we just, every time we got together, it just became more magnetic. It's like we just like fibers fusing together more and more and more and more.
Oh, that gave
And
me chills.
and now here we are 5 years later, we're still together and we have traveled internationally together. We do everything together. He knows my kids, I know his daughter, we know each other's families. It's just this partnership. And both of us have been married before. So marriage to us is not an urgency, it's the love and partnership that we want. And I know for a lot of people, like marriage is like, when are y'all getting married? When are y'all getting married? And we're like, are we doing all the things that married couples do? Like, aren't we like, to us, we feel already, like I said, fused together. So just going to the courthouse to get a certificate or a license, we're like, well, yeah, we could do that, but I'm really happy with the way things are. Like defining for both of us, defining what we want our container to look like was so important to us. And we didn't want to do, which what we both did in our first marriages, was jump into something because we were told that's what we were supposed to do. So all of that to say, yes, I'm very happy, very much in love with this amazing. He showed up after I recognized there needed to be a shift, much like you in my life. And I started doing the things to make those shifts.
I love how you talked about I'm getting some feedback here, but I loved how you talked about like going inward, pointing the love and the attention inward, which is something that for me, I never did. Even as a child, I was always the one taking care of my brothers, taking care of my parents, taking care of everybody around me. And then, becoming a young teenage mom, taking care of my kids, taking care of the people that I work with. I was just a nurturer to everyone except for Charmaine.
Yep.
And so,
Yep.
like you said, coming back to that, it's like, oh, hey, me.
Yes. And Char, I've actually found that that is the shared quality among high achieving women is they are natural nurturers and they take care of everyone else, whether it's at work, at home, their friends, their families. They take care with such great love. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Over giving of themselves that they literally forget how to give to themselves and take care of themselves in a manner that is a high quality love. You know what I mean? Just high quality self love where they are pampering themselves with the nurturing, the encouragement, the empowerment that they need from a soul level. So it's understandable why love gets placed on the back burner for themselves because they're very busy taking care of everyone else. But it is the greatest thing they need that will propel them to their potential. It really is.
One, you said the ability to give to other people. Like I found myself feeling guilty sometimes when I wanted to go and get my hair and nails done, and I don't know why that was. For some reason, I would feel guilty if I was going to be, out of pocket for an hour or 2 hours. It's like, no, I need to be on demand, on call. But then once I made that decision that no, I'm turning off, I'll be over here. Don't bother me. I need this time to think. I need this time to be within myself. And
Yeah.
I don't feel guilty about that anymore. And there was a time that I felt really, really guilty.
Yeah, I went through that too. I'm sure a lot of women go through that. Like I said, we're just not in a culture where putting yourself first doesn't mean you're selfish. Because usually, when you say that, you automatically think like, oh, you're being selfish. And of course, selfish, turns into feeling guilty.
Right.
But in order to really be there for your family and friends and coworkers and things and be a leader in the community, you have to take care of yourself. Like you have to. Because you can't, otherwise you're just giving people scraps. That's what you're going to be, scraps of advice, scraps from your productivity, scraps in your love, because they're going to be getting the bottom of the barrel because you're so tired. You're exhausted. You can't replenish the cup that you're pouring from. And so when you think of it that way, like, okay, I really am doing this for the betterment of the people around me. If I take care of myself, then you really are being a nurturer in that respect.
That's awesome. As you were talking, I kept thinking about, when you are taking flight, the first thing they tell you in the instructions are to put on the oxygen mask for yourself and then go help. But for some reason, that's not what we want to do. We feel like we need to pour everything. But I loved your analogy of we're just giving scraps if we don't take care of ourselves. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So I know that you've been able to alter the course of your relationship and how you conduct yourselves within your relationship, a 5-year relationship. That is amazing. And it's a successful one. That's awesome. The females that you have around you, your friends and family, have they been able to jump on the wagon with this? Are they still skeptical?
They are still skeptical, but I'm working on them. So yeah, I'm working on them. It is different way to think when it comes to love and dating and relationships. It really is. And, my philosophy is that dating helps prepare you for the relationship, whatever container you want that to be, if it's marriage, if it's long-term, whatever. The dating is what helps you prepare for that, because once you get in the relationship or the marriage, things are going to happen. It's not going to be this TV show, sitcom layout, if you will. That's not how it goes. And so you have to know how to problem solve creatively, but in a loving way. You have to know how to maneuver through a disagreement without hurting your relationship. You have to know how to be flexible. Maybe things didn't go as planned. So how quickly can you adapt to something new? You know what I mean?
Right.
All of that takes place in dating. So if you're closed off to like, what? I don't want to date. I want to get married and that's it. You are not going to be prepared.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of self-work that needs to go into that. I mean, because you're fusing together, like you said earlier, you're fusing together these fibers of two individual people who have lived two separate lives, who have been taught, separate things. Sometimes there are similarities, but to bring all of that together is something. It's something. And, biblically talking about being unequally yoked with someone, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. So your friends that are around you, or the people that are around you who haven't quite got into it, like, what is the drawback? What have you understood the drawback to being? Is it that they don't want to do the self-work, or?
I think it is some of that. And, when you do something long enough, you get comfortable with it. So I always say, would you rather stay in a comfortable hell or go to an unknown paradise? So sometimes being in a comfortable hell is, it's comfortable, even though it's a struggle and I'm fighting this over and over and over again, but you're comfortable. So it's only you can break that cycle to say, you know what? I'm going to do something. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but it's going to be better than this. Kind of like how we got to our point where like, it's going to be better than this because I can't do this anymore.
Right.
So it's acknowledging that you are in this place and something needs to change, and then taking responsibility to do the change. I think that's the place where people start getting to and they're like, no, at least I know with this, I know what Mr. Mediocre can do. At least with Mr. Mediocre, I know how to respond.
Yeah. Yeah. That Mr. Mediocre, that, I mean, you should coin that slogan, Mr. Mediocre, because there's a ton of guys out there. When I think about Mr. Mediocre, and I compare that sentiment with men that I've dated before, I think about lack of communication, lack of trust, lack of the ability to just be yourself, your authentic and
Yes.
true self. um what part, like, how do you peel back those layers for a guy, so you can have it all together, but then what if you meet Mr. Semi-mediocre who has some, he could be helped maybe.
Yeah. So men have to do the same thing. It's the same thing for men. They
Mhm.
are also in a place where they have settled, or maybe they've been dealing with Mrs. Mediocre for a long time. Maybe they've got some generational relationship stuff passed down to them that they haven't become aware of, or if they are aware of it, they just don't know how to go about mending it. They've got some self awareness issues or self worth issues. It's the same for men. They have to turn inward and make the decision to start working through those things to shift their energy so that he can find her, he can see her, the one he's supposed to be with. So it's not just women. I do talk a lot about women, but I've had a lot of men reach out to me privately with questions. And I had one guy in particular reach out to me and say, I've been listening to your Facebook Lives, and he's like, I just want you to know that I've recognized some things in me and I need to work on myself. So men, it's the same exact thing. There's no difference.
Got it. Gosh,
Yeah.
I mean, we could go on and on and on talking about this, and then thinking about the generational things that happen that cause us to believe what we believe about ourselves. I know, like, when I was telling you about that shift that I had, not only was it a shift in like my personal relationships with men, but also I had that shift with family.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, it
Yes.
was just like, I am done being the one that everybody brings all the trash to, that being the one that is expected to fix everything. I was
Yes.
like, I'm done with all of that. And it was just awesome to not have to carry that kind of stuff around and
Yes.
be that
And
for everybody.
yes, and it's awesome you said that, I was done doing that because that is energetic space that you are creating. So, in order to have room for someone to come into your life where you can love them and they love you back, you do have to create that energetic space. So if
Yeah,
all your energy is going to these problems of this person, the problems of that person, and somebody's bringing you, like you said, trash for you to clean up and fix, you energetically, you just don't have it to give anybody else.
right.
So yeah, you do have to, for lack of a better phrase, cut off people that are just taking up too much time and not pouring into you in a way that's helping you and nurturing you and loving you in the way you need. Then yeah,
Right.
you do have to cut that off, and only you can do that. Those are, enforcing your boundaries or setting some boundaries so that they understand, listen, I know we're family, I love you, but I will not be dealing with that anymore.
I never even had those conversations. I never said to anybody that I'm not doing this anymore. It was a decision that I made within myself. And then I just stopped being available.
That works too. Yeah,
It was like,
it
I
can
didn't
be
have
that
to,
simple.
right.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
have to hurt any feelings or anything like that. I just made that decision. I'm done. And I just didn't entertain it anymore after that. I was like, okay, I'm moving on. Along with that shift, not only did I shift with relationships, with family stuff, but also on a professional level. Um, I was thinking about, like, all the different positions that I've had, and how I felt like I had to lower who I was and my ability and skill because I didn't want to overshadow or overshine someone else, you know, or
Yes. Yes.
my direct managers, or, you know, and that feeling of just like, I don't, that's not what I'm trying to do. I really want to be helpful. I really think that we have a solution here and this is what it is. And not feeling like, well, if I do that, they might think this.
Yes.
I mean, I
Yes.
don't know about you, but I struggle with that in corporate forever.
Oh my gosh, Char. I struggled with that big time. That was like an always like a cloud always looming over me. And I finally realized you will outshine them, Farah. Like you will outperform them. That's what you're not allowing to happen. That's your natural self or your authentic self coming out or trying to come out, but you keep suppressing it.
Right.
So you are a natural leader. You are supposed to shine brightly. And so if you keep suppressing it, that's what creates the stress and the depression and the anxiety, because you're not allowing the God in you to come out.
Right.
And that obviously is going to cause some problems. But you're right. Once you make that shift, you're going to shift everywhere because you are a soul being. You know what I mean? So when you make that alignment within yourself at the soul level, then every area follows.
Yeah. That's so true. Girl, we have talked about some good stuff here. We need to
We
have a whole
did.
session. This is good. So we're talking about doing that self-work. What would be your recommendation to someone, you know, our listeners and viewers who maybe have got the light bulb that went off that's like, okay, well, maybe this is what I need to do. What would be your recommendation?
So the first recommendation is to attend my workshop this Saturday, Step into Your Essence and Attract Quality Men. So it's in Plano at Lane Love Company. And I will put a link in the chat for the event workshop link. But I'm at this workshop. It's a 3-hour workshop, but it's like an introductory workshop. And so we'll be talking about, you know, what is the point of dating? What are the 5 stages of dating? How to step into your essence as a woman. What is the one thing you need to do? Because it really comes down to one thing. But if you can attend the workshop, you can go to my website at www.farahblakely.com. I have a free download, which is a dating guide, and it goes through the 3 key areas. So evaluating your values, understanding what you want, and then living in those things every day, creating an environment where you can live in this place where you are focused on you, you are building up you, your environment is echoing all the things that you care about and that are important to you. And that is, if you can start there, even if the smallest thing you can do is just get clear on your values and what's important to you and start putting those things in your life as daily habits, that will do amazing things for you as a first step. But I would love to see your listeners or viewers at the workshop Saturday. So they can also DM me on Facebook, you know, to RSVP as well.
Sarah, that is awesome. So you have a love workshop. What's it? What's the title of it again?
Step into your essence and attract quality men.
Step into your essence. Oh, I like that. I like that. So this is happening in Plano on this Saturday.
Yes, at
All right.
10:30, from 10:30 to 1:30.
10:30. So a 3-hour workshop about stepping into your essence to attract quality
Quality men.
men. Oh
Yes.
my
No more
gosh.
Mr. Mediocre.
No more. He's got to go.
Yes.
So, with that being said, do you have any other upcoming events coming up after this one this weekend?
I am planning a year-end workshop. So last year I did the Love Vision workshop, and that was to close out the current year and create your love vision for the new year. So I'm going to run it again in December for women, and also going to be a workshop setup. It'll be in person. And it's really coming together and creating this space for you. So when you start 2022, you're already aligned to this energy of the love vision that you are creating. So you are kicking off the year with a new thought process, renewed energy. These are the habits and the self-love I'm going to show myself, every day, so that you can start creating that momentum to attract the love that you desire.
That I just had a thought that came to mind. What about married couples that are already married? They have settled, if you will. They're unhappy. Is this something you think that they could be a part of?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Last year it was mostly single women that attended, but I'm going to add that as well, that couples and singles are welcome. So thank you, Char, for bringing that up.
Well, I just thought about that because I think that there are people, married couples out there that love each other, but maybe just don't understand one another because they don't understand themselves.
That is true. That is very, very true. So yeah, that's an excellent point. Yeah, thank you for that.
That I just a little, you can thank me later for that. I'll bill you. So, but that's awesome. So I'm looking forward to sharing some more information about your workshop this weekend. Predominantly for women, but couples are invited to
Yes.
attend.
Yes.
Step into your essence.
Yeah,
I really love that.
I'll send you the flyer if you want to share it on social media. So it has
Absolutely.
all the details in there and the link if they want to register.
Absolutely. Okay, so one more time, share with our viewers, our audience, how they can connect with the love coach, Miss Farrah Blakely.
So you can find me on Facebook at Farrah Blakely Love Coach. I'm also on Instagram at FB_empowerment. And I am on LinkedIn under Farrah Blakely. So connect with me on any of those, all of those, and I'll be happy to answer any questions as well.
Farrah, I'm so happy that we had this opportunity to chat about your love coach, your platform to help women, to step into their essence. I don't know why I'm in love with that theme. I'm really in love with
Keep
that.
saying it, Char. Keep saying
I
it.
know. I mean, I love that because that's truly what it is. It's the essence of who you are and
Yes,
being true to yourself, true
yes,
to yourself, and knowing that it's okay to be who you are.
yes,
For whatever reason, we've been taught not to be authentic. We've
yes,
been taught not to, it's not okay to be nappy headed Char, you know? Um,
yes, yes.
so I'm so excited about that. I do love that theme, and I wish you all the best and continued success on your
Thank
platform
you.
here. And I'm so glad that you made the decision to chat with me on today. And again, I wish
Absolutely.
you all the best.
Same to
Here
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Here on Chit Chat with Char, one of the things that we really strive to do is to put a spotlight on, people in our communities, whether it be small businesses, people that are working with a cause, people that just want to do major things in our community. And this is one of them, because if we can't love the community if we don't love ourselves. We can't do for others if we don't love ourselves. So Farrah, thank you so much for taking the time. Thank The Difference, who makes this podcast possible. I thank Lyndon for everything that he's done to help me launch this. Farrah, we talked years ago about this podcast.
Yes,
And it's just amazing to how we can speak things into the universe and not know when it's coming back around, but know that it's something that you want to do. And I'm just so happy that I have this platform to spotlight people like you and everything that you're doing. Like I said, I wish you all the best. You can connect with Chit Chat with Char on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. You can watch our videos on YouTube. We also are streaming live on LinkedIn as well. So I thank you for everything. Our mission here at Chit Chat with Char is to connect, collaborate, and cultivate. Thank you guys so much, and you have a great and beautiful day.
Bye.